I'm great. I'm great. I am calling you all the way from Florida. Where are you?
Colorado.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining this call, this interview. I'm so excited to get to know you a little bit better. I know you're a buyer and you're definitely involved with Trade and Impact. So I have a few questions for you if you don't mind telling me. I want the audience to get to know you a little bit better and see what the buyer experience is from your end for something like Trade and Impact, how that has been impacting your life and the environment that you're in, the challenges and the successes that you've had. I'm excited to get started. Would you like to get started?
Fantastic.
Awesome, great. So tell me what's your story?
Well, basically, I started a company called Global Girlfriend back almost 15 years ago now, and really not with any of the information that you probably should have to start a import fair trade business, but it has been one of the biggest gifts of my life. You know, I am from a small town. I grew up in a really small farming community, and that was really where I learned how important community and helping one another could be. I went on to become a social worker. I did women and children's social welfare. I worked in schools, that sort of thing. But when my mother-in-law was asked to be on a board of the World Food Program and got to go out and travel to places the food program was giving food assistance, that's what really sparked the idea for Global Girlfriend. She would come back with these phenomenal, jewelry pieces or scarves or gorgeous products from women who were basically sitting out in the hot sun trying to sell their wares to aid workers. I'm like,
Incredible.
this is gorgeous stuff.
Yes.
Need a market.
Yes.
And that's sort of where the idea came from. So for me, it is completely the story behind the product, the talent, the tenacity, the fact that these women's talents shine and creativity shine so brightly from them that that's the path they choose to make a living, and often not make a living, eke out a living, right? A lot of the early artisans that we worked with, it came from such dire conditions, and still today there are several of the groups we work with, especially when we start with a new group, who are really taking a risk, choosing this over farming or choosing this over another trade, and really relying on this income. And they're so talented, and that heritage skill too, just keeping heritage craft alive, something that's come from their community and then come through them with their own interpretation and creativity. That to me, I mean, it's unlike anything that you can buy from a factory.
Absolutely.
So
it's a story in itself of overcoming something, right? Of becoming and overcoming.
It's alive with a woman's creativity. It's alive with her talent. It's alive with her aspirations, and it's alive with her family, right? Each provides a downline to her family, to her community. So yeah, there's nothing like it, really.
Incredible. So how has this year been for you? What have you seen in this past year in terms of accomplishments, in terms of successes, in terms of challenges for you? What have been the things that have driven, or the main themes that you see this year for you that will probably take you to the next step?
It is always a challenge. There's always something new to learn. We've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years, and there's always a new business challenge. I just got back from 2 magical weeks in Swaziland and South Africa, and
jealous. I'm jealous.
I know you've been to Swaziland.
I love it. It's wonderful. It is magical, really.
Magical. And what is magical to me about that country and the fair trade artisan groups working there is their deep sense of collaboration, right? That the country is about the whole community. It bleeds across to these women's artisan groups who are all working together to come up with different niches, different products, ways to make themselves special and stand out in the market, but helping each other. It really inspires me, and it's what has inspired me about Trade and Impact. right? Since Morocco last year.
Yes.
This idea that we are all in this industry together, that we're not competing against each other,
Right.
that we're not trying to say, buy my fair trade bracelet over your fair trade bracelet. Yes, probably on a daily basis for my business, I might be saying that. But generally, what we're trying to accomplish together as a community is value these goods, value these women, open opportunities. Let's share what we know. I just traveled with women from 4 other companies, and it was all about our hardships, our successes, giving each other advice on, you know, how to tackle some different challenges. And that's what's inspiring to me. And that's why I think Trade and Impact is so vital for both the sellers and the buyers.
So speaking of sellers and their, you know, their role in this entire kind of 360 community that we're bringing together, if a seller were to kind of come up to you and say, hey, what advice do you have for me? Give me some advice. What is your best tip to give to a seller that wants to know a little bit more about what you do and a little bit more about the industry itself and about the women that you work with?
I am always digging deeper. Tell me your story, right? Tell me about the women themselves. Who works for you? How long have they worked for you? What changes has working as part of your group made in their lives? What are those impacts that your cooperative has made? And then I'm always, I think one thing that sellers feel about buyers is they don't want to bother them, right? They don't want to feel like they're bugging them. If they sent something and you didn't buy it, they feel like you're not interested. For me at Global Girlfriend, that's never true. We work with almost 100 different groups. And so my attention is very, very split. We're different than some other companies that might work with 1 to 5 groups more closely. We work really wide. And so always propose products to buyers. If you have something new, if you have a new idea, send a picture, send a price. There's no reason not to keep that channel going. And even if somebody doesn't buy the thing you sent that time, they'll keep you top of mind. And I feel like a lot of times sellers send us something one time or we meet one place and the follow-up isn't there. It's really the groups who continue to feed me their new ideas that we do the most business with. And so whether or not that's that they're just that much farther along, or whether it's just that they keep themselves top of mind by giving us their new ideas.
That's great insight. And one question about, you know, advice to yourself. What are the things that you wish you would have known when you first started out in this industry 15 years ago?
Well, I wish I would have known how to import, because some of my biggest mistakes early on was not knowing government regulations. I had bought $6,000 worth of bags from a group in India. And for me, that was, now that's a little order, but for back then it was a
big order.
And it came in and I got a notice from the US government that it was all going to be burned. It got a marking notice because it didn't have a made in India label sewn in each bag.
You have got to be kidding me.
No, so with some tears and begging at the customs office at the airport, I got them to give us 3 days to label everything. I got every friend I knew to label these bags. But simple laws like that can really cause problems. Earlier, I had just shipped everything in DHL and you know, carried it over and it was easy. But when you start to grow your business and really need to follow the structure, if you don't know those rules, it can cost you.
Oh my gosh, that's a crazy story. That's a great story that people can learn from. That's a good moral you have there. Label your stuff. Make sure you know.
In whatever country is key. Everybody has to have that on every product.
So we're really excited that you're part of our community and that many more people through Trade and Impact will become members of this community that will empower each other, that will get to know each other, will connect buyers and sellers alike. They'll have an opportunity to meet you and perhaps if they didn't feel they had, you know, the power to come and show you something. Now they do, because you've told them, hey, showcase your stuff, give it to me, I want to see it. Yeah. So this is what it's doing. This is what Trade and Impact is doing, is getting those paradigms out of the way and connecting each other so that we can really build a strong community for the environment, for our social enterprises, and for each of the businesses that are represented, and each of the women really that are represented behind this.
I'm gonna say, I mean, really for me too, the magic of Trade and Impact, unlike other trade associations and unlike other events, yes, it's telling the story. Yes, it's connecting buyers and sellers. Yes, it's showing the real value of the products and where they come from, but it's showing the real value of women. We sat next to each other, seller, buyer, consultant, government official, and told each other our human stories about our kids, and that whole idea that someone who is unfortunately born into a community of poverty is different than me,
right,
melted away.
Yes.
Different. All dreams, all the same.
Yes.
All tenacity, all the same. What is missing for a lot of women is opportunity. And so Trade Impact is that opportunity to connect as humans and to connect as buyers and sellers and improve our place in the value chain so that these products and these women really get into the channels that they need to bring up their families, their communities, and to showcase their wonderful work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and let me know when you put that whole thing together on the pictures. Maybe do a.
I will for sure. It was great to talk to you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Take care.